Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast, episode number 21.
The most successful people in the dance field and all other fields in life are the ones who became friends with being in the unknown. They became friends with it. It's not comfortable, but somehow it makes them feel alive.
Welcome to the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast, the podcast dedicated to inspiring dancers worldwide whose hearts have been touched by music and dance. The universal language of dance and music is spoken by many of us throughout the world. We want to motivate the dancer in you by sharing stories, insights, and ideas to enhance your journey. Join us now with your host, Charles Ogar.
Hello everyone. This is Charles with the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast, and today we have a special guest coming back to the show again, Mr. Ronie Saleh. Ronie was, I want to say, on episode number 7 or so, I think. I'll include the links in the show notes so you guys can check out that podcast. Really great podcast, really great guy, also a fellow Kizomba instructor, and we're bringing him back to share some more insights about his teaching style and kind of his philosophy behind dance. And we're also going to be making a special announcements for some events we have coming up in 2017 next year. How you doing today, Ronie?
Charles, do you really want to know how I'm doing?
Ronie, I really want to know how you're doing.
Okay. I'm happy to be back again to your podcast. I'm happy to be back again. Ooh, I'm happy to be back again. Yes. That's how I feel, man.
I don't think I've ever had a guy sing to me, but I like it.
Well, I think it's all about expressing yourself, you know, even if it doesn't feel comfortable, right?
Yeah. No, like I couldn't stop smiling. So
no,
it was a good...
I mean me, you know. Even if I didn't feel 100% sure, should I really sing when he says how I am? But I felt, you know what? Let's make a try, you know.
Yes. Awesome, brother. Have you been? Where have you been traveling to? How's life?
I just came home from Oakis Festival in Hvar.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most beautiful islands I've ever seen in Croatia. So I was giving classes there and stuff, and now I'm home again.
Back in Stockholm, yes?
Yeah, in my room, and to be more specific, on my bed.
Yes, awesome. Okay, so it's awesome to have you back here on the show. I've been hearing a lot more about you and just like people who have been taking your classes. I know we talked a little bit about it last time in the podcast about your teaching style, a little bit about the story of your childhood and how that kind of helped you mold you into who you are today and the way you teach. And so that's what I like to do with today's podcast. I like to kind of shine a light on your motivation and your inspiration to inspire others, and then also how you take that into your classes and your workshops, because I'm hearing a lot of people that you're giving motivational messages and things like that, you know? So let's kind of start from what inspired you to inspire other people?
I think it's based on my speech problems. So my stuttering. I stuttered much more as a kid and in my youth than I do now, but you know, it's still there, and sometimes it's hard to express. And I think in earlier years, dancing and singing was my way of expressing myself when the verbal communication didn't reach them. But going back to your question, I think that when you've experienced difficulties, you have two choices. You will either let these difficulties stop you from following your heart and reaching your dreams, or you can just go ahead and take that fear, walk hand in hand with that fear, and just explore the world, even if it's not easy all the time. And when I did that, in my workshops, I always talk about the known and the unknown. And to be in the known, we've been in this field for several years. We are good in that. We know what we do, stuff. But our fears are in the unknown. And the unknown doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Even if you don't know about the other field, you need to actually take that step to explore it, explore yourself and your reactions in the unknown to actually be able to see how life is and how you will respond to it. So when I did that, I never let my speech problems stop me from doing what I want. And when I see how fun life can be if you challenge yourself and what you're feared of, then you become so happy and proud of yourself. And that is, I think, the core of why I want to inspire other people, because I know myself. When you come from hard times, it's so much possible to reach the best parts of life if you just dare to follow your heart and challenge your fears. Long answer to a short question.
No, it's good. And so that's why we kind of have a podcast dedicated just to this, so we don't have to short down the answers or anything like that. There's no rush. We have time to kind of talk about this a little bit more. I wanted to go back before and just let people know, for people who haven't heard your story, you were born with a speech impediment, correct? With the stuttering. And that made it hard for you to communicate. And I think you said before that in school, the kids made fun of you and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I got made fun of a lot too when I was younger too. For having big ears and big teeth and being like one of the smarter kids and stuff like that. I was definitely one of the more nerdier guys when I was in elementary school, but I can relate to that. But for you were able to find, since you weren't able to communicate verbally, you were able to sing, and through your singing, the stuttering didn't present itself. And then also with dance, that was communication without words.
Yeah.
So now people can really see who you are. You can tell people how you feel and not feel judged about not being able to communicate verbally. That's awesome.
Yeah, and actually, sometimes I'm thinking, was this meant to be? Did I need this disorder to be able to be the one I am? Because when I was younger as well, I went to a speech and language pathologist. My own profession, actually. So I chose to become that after visiting them my whole life, But what I wanted to say with that is that in the speech fluency treatment, it's about, slowing down the pace of your speech. It's about prolonging each word. It's about many, many useful things that I use when I talk nowadays. In my classes, when I talk to people, I pace down the speed. So many people say that, when I hear you speak, I just become so calm. I just got from work to your class, and the moment you start to speak, I just forget about all the worries and stress. And I'm like, phew, I'm lucky that I went to speech and language pathologist my whole life, Because when I use these speech techniques, my stuttering becomes much more less, you know. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. How the difficulties in your life seem to be setting you up for like what you need later on in life, you know?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I'd like to also talk a little bit about what brought you to Stockholm with your family, because that was also a difficult time, correct?
Yeah, true.
Can you share that with our listeners?
No way, man. Of course I can. So when I was 1, there was a big war in the Kurdish part of Iraq, where we are from. And after many buts, like should we not, my mom and dad just looked at us kids, we are 4 kids, and they said, you know what, let's make another future for these kids. So they decided to leave everything, and not knowing exactly where to go, but along the way they just thought Stockholm would be a good idea, and it was. More
of the unknown, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I'm born with that, man. No, so the war brought us here.
And so how was that experience for your family that particular time, to go and start a new place in a completely new country, not speaking the language and things like that? And on top of that, I guess you're a new kid, you started school there, you're also in a new country. So that's a hard experience or a difficult experience in itself. And then on top of that, you have the speech impediment.
Yeah. I think it was hard for them, actually. But they knew some people before they came. I think my uncle was here before us, a few years before us.
Okay.
Because he had kind of predicted the war coming. And the other were like, no, come on, it's just talking, it's just rumors, you know. He was like, you know what, let's just go. And we waited, but we were actually one of the first who came from our cousins and stuff. But so we did. And I guess it was hard, but somehow my parents are one of my biggest inspirations too. I sometimes feel like I have more obstacles than they have, even if I can speak the language much better than they can, and they just go and see what happens. Oh, like let's just go, you know. So I really admire them for not thinking too much of what will happen. They just do, you know.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that's definitely been helping me, and I kind of hear what you're saying, is the paralysis of analysis. So you get to the point to where you're just thinking so much about everything that can happen, and you don't take any action, you know? So ever since I've been dancing full time, I've definitely been able to kind of put that to the side and focus more on like just taking action and see what happens, and then keep moving forward, you know, versus being afraid about the unknown and not moving forward, you know?
True.
Awesome. So the unknown, the known, and going out of your comfort zone to kind of explore things that you don't know in life, and that could be from dance to a new city to a new job. A lot of different things can happen to kind of cause that anxiety of not knowing what's going to happen, you know?
Coming to a place, sharing a workshop, not knowing how to start it.
For sure.
You know, because you're not sure about the response, you know. You're like, okay, now I'm going to go and do my thing. And the funny thing is that the more you think about, the more I thought about that I need to give a good class. It's never as good as if I just go and think, I will give a class and I will give what I do every single day. Not expecting something to be as you want in your head, just to go and just do the thing, just share your workshop. And those workshops has been the best, you know.
It's awesome. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well, about your teaching style. So you have this inspiration from your parents, you have the inspiration from the speech impediment and kind of overcoming that, and you were helping people even before you started dancing kizomba with that speech impediment as well, yeah?
Yeah.
So you kind of have this track record even before you started dancing kizomba of helping people overcome things.
Yeah, I was in university for 4 years. I took my master's in speech and language pathologist, and that was what I would actually do for the rest of my life, I thought. So I opened my own clinic in the center of Stockholm, and together with 3 other pathologists, and it was the first speech like stuttering center in Sweden that was specialized into just stuttering.
That's awesome.
So it was something that I really looked forward to, and then kizomba came.
Yeah. So before we get into kizomba, were you using inspirational and motivational messages while you were coaching people who had a stuttering problem?
Yeah, I think I think I've always been a searcher. I've always felt there's something more than there must be something more than what I just can see, you know. My mom and dad says when I was 5 and they were in the subway or something, I always talked to the older people, and I could ask questions like, why are we here? How come I can move my hands like I want, and what happens after this? Like, you know, all these stuff. And they're like, Ronnie, why are you asking them these things? You know, but I always think I've been a searcher somehow. And when I went to libraries as a youth and kid, I always searched for these books, like personal development, spirituality, and stuff. So I think it's always been part of who I am.
Definitely. And how do you think spirituality showed itself in your clinic when you were helping people with the stuttering problem?
Yes.
How so?
I think presence is the key. I think that presence is everything. And it was a big factor in my clinic as well, and in my treatments, to be there fully with all your senses, to be listening to what your patient has to say, and to take it from there step by step. Even though I have my schedules or I don't know the name in English, the maps of how you should treat someone. I think I always took that map aside to first see who is this person in front of me, where does this person come from and stuff, before I started the clinical stuff. So I think when you are present with your patient, the one you dance with, the people you talk to, I think people feel that atmosphere that you share, and I think that was the key in my work.
For sure. Yeah. Exactly. So you were definitely inspired by these undertones of spirituality and being in the present moment and things like that. That's something that was definitely a big part of your heart. You're following your heart to help people and to inspire people. And now it's almost like we have some of those mirror parallels in kizomba. So how did that become a mission to inspire people? What did you feel that you had to offer to people in the kizomba world to inspire?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's based on what I said previously, that our fears, our fears of actually being ourselves, you know, our fear of not being liked can make us not live the life we want to live, not being who we really want to be in life. And I think that my expression of of speaking, even though I knew that in any moment of this sentence I can get stuck. In any moment of this word, people can laugh at me. At any moment, people can repeat what I just said and make fun of that. In any time in my oral presentations in school, anything can just make me fall, you know. Even though I had these fears, I never wanted to stop expressing myself. And it's the same in the dance, you know, like when I started to teach, it wasn't the easiest way, believe me. Like many of the teachers had hard times with me starting to teach, and had many opinions about my style that they didn't think fitted in that world. But I was just kind of smiling inside, and I was like, you know what, guys, I've been through pain my whole life. And I did it this far, and I've been enjoying things so much. Do you think you will stop me from expressing now? So I think my whole life has been a build-up and preparation for what I'm doing now. So spirituality and stuff, I think it's about expressing who you are and being proud. This is a really important part. Being proud of your unique expression. It's really, really easy to become a copy. To follow someone else because you have a role model and stuff, which is fine. But if you get stuck in someone else's life and style, you're searching outside rather than inside. And I think that like I rather die original than a copy, you know?
Yeah, it seems to be easy for people to find somebody who's liked and copy them, so that way people can like them, you know? Versus, and let's say you do something unique, sometimes people like that, you know, but sometimes people will criticize you for being different, you know?
Yeah.
You have a lot of these motivational messages that you use in your classes, and I've been hearing a lot of them from my friends who have been taking your classes and things like that as well.
What have they said, Charles?
It's
Show it to me.
All good things. It's really all good things. Just really like heartfelt messages. So I wanted to talk a little bit about those. Did you just kind of use those messages from the beginning? Because you said, okay, there was a transition. There was a difficult time for you to start teaching. Were you just yourself from the beginning, or were you trying to copy somebody else at the beginning?
That's a good question too. Damn, man, you only have good questions. No, I'm kidding. I think I've always believed in my artistic expression. I've been singing my whole life, mostly in the shower, you know. But still. And I think that since music and dance was my expression before, when I couldn't reach people with my verbal expression, I think that gave me a confidence, you know. So I wasn't confident in the verbal speech, but I was verbal expression, but I was really more and more comfortable in my artistic view, because that's actually the way people respected me. Like, even though they felt it was a bit odd to listen to me sometimes, because they needed to wait like five times longer for me to finish something, rather than people who doesn't speak as I do. They still was there and like, okay, it's fine, he's cool, he knows how to dance, you know. So I think that gave me confidence. So when I came into the kizomba scene and started to teach, of course you're not happy when you hear bad things about you. Of course, I still feel I'm really sensitive, and I'm really, really open for critic. I'm really open, because when people say, Ronnie, you're the best, you're so good, blah, blah, you know, I really appreciate what people say, and they're comments and stuff. But I myself feel that I've only reached like 15% of my potential. Because I have so much more to actually improve. Yeah, like some people say I'm good, some people say I'm bad, and somehow you can't rely on that. Like neither the positive or the negative. Like I really appreciate people putting time and saying nice things to me, and I will appreciate it every day. But at the same time, if you are not your own confirmer, if you are not at peace with what you do and your expression, I think you will always be dependent on these waves, these up and down waves. So my confidence in expressing my art has helped me to keep moving on in this field.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So the motivational messages that you have are coming from just lessons that you've learned in life, going through critiques and criticism and things like that, you know? Yeah. I think it's also interesting that you say, like, you don't really let the compliments get to your head, so you don't have like this big ego. And then you also don't let the criticism get to your heart, so that way you don't feel discouraged and you stop doing what you're doing, you know? There's a balance of both, you know, that you have to kind of do to keep yourself balanced and level and still be who you are, but still be humble, you know? You're not shy, you're not, I guess, hold yourself back. But at the same time, you don't let your confidence go too far and be like, oh, I'm the best in the world. I have nothing else to learn, anything like that. It's kind of like this always balance between both of them. Let's take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. Have you been looking to level up your Kizomba, but you don't have the local instructors to take you there? Are you looking for something concrete to practice with your Kizomba partner? Or are you looking for Kizomba lessons that you can take on your schedule and the comfort of your home? If you answered yes to any of these questions, look no further. LearnToKiz.com is what you need. Progressive, step-by-step lessons that you can take at your pace in the comfort of your home or anywhere with a solid internet connection on your PC, Mac, or any smartphone. New videos are added every month. You can try this awesome resource out 30 days free at LearnToKiz.com/podcast. After the 30 days free is only a low $15 per month. But again, the special offer for the Dance Your Heart on Fire listeners, 30 days free at LearnToKiz.com/podcast. You won't find this offer anywhere else. LearnToKiz.com/podcast. And now back to our show.
Yeah, and I am here to become my best version, you know. So I need to be open for development every single day. And I love the best feeling I know is when I surprise myself. It's like, oh my God, how I've been dancing this for 2.5 years. Why didn't I know that simple variation of Lady Saida? I've been fucking doing this for so long. You know, like if you're open, but if you're closed to getting new inspiration, I think you will just stop, and I think you will move on to some other job. Because when you're done in one part, then you feel, okay, now is the time to become a sailor or a pilot or a fisherman, or you know what I mean? But if I'm open to new knowledge, I think that I'll be doing this till I get 95.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself using a particular motivational story or a particular message a lot in like almost all your workshops, more so than other messages?
How do you mean? If you
have like a quote that you use, like a saying, or is there a story that you always share that seems to come up more often than other ones?
So I never plan. I never want to plan like the 5th sentence of this workshop should be to be or not to be, you know. It's not that, but I kind of say the same things because they come naturally and they fit in the specific thing we actually do. So one thing I used to say is that Buddha Buddha said, never believe in anything I say or do. Go and find the truth in your own experience. So I tell my participants that you can look at us, you can get our moves of the class, but directly start to see how does your body respond to the thing that we just shared. Instead of looking inside the circle at us teachers, the whole class, look at us few times, don't look at us the rest of the time, or just look again and look be with your partner again and back and forth. So you give your expression a chance, you know, because if your eyes are always on us who teach, you will never be able to feel it in the way you move, because I say that no one here will ever dance like me. And then people looks a bit sad when I say that. But then I say, and I will never dance like someone here. So let's just start to express our unique expression. That's one of the things I talk about, the known and unknown. I say that the most successful people in the dance field and all other fields in life are the ones who became friends with being in the unknown. They became friends with it. It's not comfortable, but somehow it makes them feel alive. And it's the same about musicality. If you don't dare to catch the elements of the song, if you play it safe, like you feel there, but you may be afraid what your partner will think. If you catch it, maybe she will not like it and stuff. Then you just don't express yourself, you know. So being in the unknown rather than the known for your whole life, and much more.
Yes, definitely. You touched on musicality. I want to talk about that a little bit before we go into our announcements a little bit, because I feel having that courage to be yourself ties into expressing to how you feel about the music, you know? And you can have one song inspire different feelings in different people, you know? And different interpretations. There's multiple things that happen in a song at one time. So it's up to that person's individual perception and interpretation, and I guess confidence in that to then express it for that, you know. And one of the things that you like to teach a lot is musicality as well. So I'll let you share a few words on that.
Yeah, so when I share musicality, I first of all say, this is how I feel the song. This is how the music speaks to my heart, and this is what I want to share. You don't have to pick everything I do. Maybe you don't like to pick these star parts, and you prefer this part instead and stuff. So musicality is really individual, and that is also what makes this dance so interesting, because all of us shares different interpretation of the musicality. Musicality is also, I sometimes do the hand musicality class. It's part of my musicality class, and the hand musicality is basically that the leaders will try to embody the music through their hands on their partner's back. So they can use the soft fingers, they can use more pressure on the back, they can use the whole palm, they can use the backhand and stuff, you know, like the nails and stuff, just to kind of catch all these elements in this song. But the moment I tell them to switch, so now is the followers' time to catch elements in the song on the leader's back, then the guys looks a bit shocked in the beginning, but it ends with the guys doesn't want the girls to actually stop it. And then my message there is that, guys, do you really want to feel the followers' musicality too. How did that feel? And they're like, it was amazing, but I never paid attention to their musicality when I danced myself. Because I think that if we only lead as leaders, if we only lead and we don't give the space to the followers, I think that we miss a big dimension of the dance. So my best dance experiences is when the follower talks to me too, and not only listening to my musicality.
Yeah, I feel like it's a conversation, you know? I feel there's a difference between a passive follow and an active follow, you know?
Hell yeah.
And I really like to inspire the follows to, yes, it's important to understand what the leader is saying, but you also, if you guys are able to establish a good conversation, you can say something as well, you know? And then I also inspire the leaders. One of the quotes that I have is, listen to the followers, listen to you, you know? See how it is that she's responding, and you are, it's 50-50, you know? It's not one and the other is passive and one of them is just like a puppet. It's more than that, you know?
But there is a but here as well. When both speaks into their mouths, when both wants to play the musicality the same time, the whole song, then it doesn't become a dialogue anymore, you know. So I think it's important for the followers as well to feel, you know, like if they take over, they can lead instead, you know. So it's all about that fine tune of listening, talking, talking stuff. Yeah.
Just like with a normal conversation that you have, but now you're having a conversation with your body without words.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, this has been an awesome podcast. Thank you once again for sharing your story and
pleasure.
your fears and what motivates you and things like that. I think it's really important for people to understand there's more to it than just the steps. And when you come to a class or to a workshop, like the power of dance definitely has the power to uplift you. And that's one of the things we want to do with this podcast, is to inspire the dancers to keep dancing. And sometimes hearing the stories of the people, their favorite instructors, kind of helps that process, you know? So we have 2 special announcements that we want to share out to the public. All right, so there's the drum roll. So I met you for the first time in Sweden last year in February. Was that this year?
Yeah, this year, yeah.
It was this year. Damn, it feels like it's been longer than that. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
That was only 6 months ago. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay. But I had fun there teaching at the Sweden Kizomba Festival. I'm going to try to make it again there next year in Sweden in February. I'll put a link of that festival. Greg and Tanya put on that festival in Gothenburg, Sweden. It's pretty cool. It's a little cold, but like the dancers there and the DJs and the dancing was pretty awesome.
And Charles?
Yes.
Charles, I heard many good things about your classes too. People came and like, Ronnie, your classes has always been, you know, one of the tops. Now you have someone else on the top as well. I was like, who is that? Charles from US. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I need to attend his class.
Yeah, so speaking about attending each other's classes, we think, well, this is the announcement that we're going to be making. Ronnie is going to be coming to the US, and I originally told Ronnie that, okay, I really like your teaching style. I like that you motivate and inspire people. I want to help you set up a tour here in the US so you can go in and visit different cities and things like that. But Ronnie, you told me you'd only agree to the tour with one condition. Can you let the people know what that condition was?
I said, the only way I'm going to make a tour in US is with someone who is same-minded as I am, who who wants to share more than dance, who wants to share a lifestyle, who wants to share, life itself. And the first one I thought about was Charles. So I said, Charles, if you're not doing it with me, I will not come. And Charles, what was your response?
I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I don't think there's been like a duo male tour before in the US, so it'll be kind of interesting. But for our listeners, Ronie and myself are going to be doing a tour in the US. It's going to be
5 weekends, right?
Yeah, 5 weekends.
Damn, that's great.
If you are interested in having us in your city, you're hearing it here first. We haven't officially announced it anywhere, but there's going to be a website. It's going to be neokizomba.com/Ronie and Charles. And if you're interested, fill out the form there and let us know if you want to bring us to your city. We have some cities already booked, but I think we have maybe 3 or 2 cities still available. And that's going to be our first big tour. Our first big announcement is going to be this Unleashing the Spirit tour here in the U.S. You've been to the U.S. once. You were here this year, a few months ago, at the Orlando Kizomba Festival.
And I have something to say about that one.
Yes, go ahead.
I love the American students.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you go to places and you share and share and share, and you don't get the response. Mm-hmm. You know, like you're like, I'm giving. show me a smile. You know, like I will not say which country, but it's one country where it's really hard to get that response back. But in United States, I mean, people were sharing, they were applauding, they were smiling, and in the dance itself, like when we dance after the class and everyone records, there was this girl who was like, yeah, hell yeah, you know, when I did a cool move and stuff, and you know, that just gives me more power to share even more, you know. So I really look forward to meet the American kizomberos and kizomberas.
Yes. So that's big announcement number 1. Second big announcement number 2. It was kind of interesting because we've been trying to like find the best time in the year to bring you here. And we were originally planning to do this in May of 2017. But then things kept coming up. We were looking at June, and Father's Day was in June, and the date wasn't working out. So it's like, man, we need to find a good time. And so we were looking at the calendar, and like Ronnie's like, oh, I have like the 3rd week of July open and some dates in August. And I'm like, what? Like, that's the date of my festival, the Neo Kizomba Festival. And I was like, well, why don't we just kick off the tour from the festival, 3rd annual Neo Kizomba Festival. Ronie Saleh is going to be a confirmed artist.
Really excited.
So right now we have Albert Rojas, we have Laurent and Adeline coming back, and we're going to have Ronie. So 3 awesome musical dancers that are going to be there for the Neo Kizomba Festival. But after the festival, we're definitely going to do the tour around the US and kind of help spread the love of Kizomba and expressing yourself and the musicality and things like that. So once again, if you're interested, make sure you go to neokizomba.com/Ronie and Charles. I'll put a link in the show notes for the podcast if you're interested in having us in our cities. I think we have like 2 or 3 weekends open for possible workshops in your city. Boom, it's out in the universe.
Yeah. And one last thing before I say bye, and I'm really thankful, Charles, that you are doing this work, that you share your love and your passion with the world, because I think it helps so many people to open up, you know. So my last sentence is, unleash your spirit, your unique expression, because you want to die original rather than a copy. You want to put a mark. You want to like, this was me.
Definitely awesome words to end the podcast. Thank you for your time again, Ronie.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited for next year. We're going to have some other projects coming for next year, but this is going to be one of them. And I wanted to kind of put it out there to let people know about the tour and then also about your presence at the festival. And we'll keep it going, yeah?
Boom.
All right, brother. Take care.
Okay, bye, Charles.
Thank you for checking out the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast today. Be sure to check out neokizomba.com for links to everything that we chatted about today, as well as some awesome free resources to enhance your Kizomba journey.